Hey guys, Rick Shaw here on the 26th of October 2021. We got kind of the sun's out pretty good, feels great, nice and warm. But we got some big old clouds, and I don't doubt it's probably going to pour again later today and rain. But we'll see. My sweetie was down at the water place, and they said, oh, they had a problem with the tank. And I told her, I said, yeah, you don't put water in it, you're going to have a problem with the tank. You have to have water in there for pressure. What these people don't understand, and this is why you shouldn't get somebody, a layman like this, running a water system. You know, they don't know anything more than to turn on a valve. But what they don't realize on these big tanks, if there's a storm coming, they have to be full. That's their protection from damage in the wind. And we get some pretty good winds around here, and they need that weight and they need that water in there. When they're empty, they're susceptible to collapse. You have to have the water. I know, I lived in a small town. We had a 500 ground. It was a ground-based tank, and we had two 250 tower tanks. And that was a big thing. The dude running that, he was really on it. Now, we didn't have for years, we didn't have the automatic tank filling thing. It was a very old system. They maintained it well. And what he had, every night he come home from work, he opened up the valve. Or years later, he had his son doing it. But then we were able to get some money to upgrade our water system, and we went ahead and basically it's what's in a toilet bowl. It's a floater valve that turns it on and on, a big valve. And it wasn't that much money either. I mean, we were thinking, you know, this is going to be this ridiculous amount of money, and it wasn't. You know, I think it was under $5,000 for 2 tanks. Now, the one big tank, that was the ground-based tank, that was filled automatically by a stream and had an overflow. That was your big water that went through our sand mounds and all that kind of stuff. You didn't touch that. We just had to go clean that. We would get up there and clean that, monthly. Just monthly, but it had good accesses in it to get in there and clean it. But that's the way the systems work. These people don't seem to get it. But beautiful day. I'm glad the sun's out. Back was really hurting. Kids, they don't care if it's raining or not. They want to go outside and play, and I'm in with that. I want to get them out no matter what. But we have our friend's daughters coming. Little Moo-Moo's girlfriend, he calls it. Jace is coming. She's going for a job in the Netherlands, and they need a reference, and I'm going to give them a good reference. I've known these people. There's what we don't need in the road, guys. I've known these people for 9+ years. Faye's known them for much longer than that. Super good, solid family, honest people. They raised their kids, and this is their daughter, and she's a real sweetheart, and they want a reference, and I'm going to give a good one. I've known her most of her life, and she's a good egg. There's no doubt about it. So I'm going to write up a nice reference today. They have a form to fill out, and then she wants to go to the Netherlands so she can make a little bit better money than here. You know, I do know some people that go to other countries, and I don't understand it because they're not making much more. One fellow we used to know, I haven't seen him for quite a while, but this is our tutor's guy. He was going over to make a little bit more than what he would have made here as an equipment operator, and it's like, why would you leave your country? Because by the time you spend all the money there and send it back, you're not doing any better. And we heard finally he just said he's not going to do that anymore. You know, if you're going to go to a country to do work like that, you have to go where they're paying, not China, Indonesia, where they just don't pay anybody. That's just how that works. But I can see us getting a big rain again today. You know, it's everything for me gets slowed down. I don't like to do too much in the rain. Kids like to run around and play in it, take baths and stuff like that, but not me. Not me. But we had our big walk yesterday. Beer run. Bob was out, but But I like to drink a beer from time to time. Good to get them through you. It actually, for me, it's kind of like medicine for the back sometimes. And I know sometimes it'll mess up the gut because the stuff in the beer. I wish they had the beers like when I was in the States. They have such a good different kinds of beer, and micro brews and stuff like that used to be pretty cool, where you can go in and get something different every time. Here you're not going to get much, and if you do find beer of a different kind, it's older than the hills because nobody's drinking it. When I was in Davao at the Giano supermarket, they had a section where the smokes and the beer was, and oh yeah, they had all kinds of beer in there. And I was like, oh boy, they even had Blue Moon, and I remember drinking that, thinking I like that stuff. It was old as the hills. It was absolutely horrible. And then the only other time they had like a 4-pack of Guinness, and I thought I'm going to get that. I always liked Guinness. That was shot too. It must have been 2 or 3 years old, and so here the only game in town is San Mig or Red Horse, and here they don't drink the Red Horse like they do in Carmona. There, everything's Red Horse. Here, it's more San Mig than Red Horse. So you can find, a lot of times you go to the stores into like 7-Elevens or something, and all the San Mig is gone, and there's a pile of Red Horses because the people are drinking the San Mig here compared. It's funny how a place works. I lived in a town, outside of a town, that they were Stroh's drinkers, and where my brother was working, he was way on the eastern seaboard, they drank Bud. And in my town, you couldn't get a Bud on tap anywhere. You can get a long neck, but you couldn't get anything on tap. And in his town, you couldn't get a Stroh's to save. You couldn't even buy a Stroh's over his way. You just couldn't buy one. And I always liked Stroh's beer. That was one I liked when I was drinking. But on call, especially the last few years being on call, you can't, because it's funny. You go to work and they poke a breathalyzer in your mouth. Anybody gets caught trying to sneak in like that, you're done. You're off the program. You don't get to do on-call work. So you don't want to lose that money because it's continuous. The on-call work, even if you work for 10, 12 hours and you go take a nap, you're still getting paid. So that's kind of cool. That's always nice to get, but they can't get guys. That's why they keep saying. I saw an article way back in the 80s that said they were 80,000 short high voltage electricians in the country, and 30 years later, a little bit more, they say the same thing. They're still short. Nobody wants to do it. Why? They just don't want to do it. So there's incentives. They give a lot of incentives for that. I never understood why they gave the early retirement. If they're short on people, why they give the early retirement incentive. And they don't give it to the electricians that stay for 35, 38 years. I never did understand that one, but that's a good one to get, to get fully vested. But just hiking around this morning, they made me a nice breakfast. I like to eat, I like potatoes. I don't like sucking all this rice that she eats. We had only at the beginning of the month bought a 25, I believe it was a 25 kilo sack of rice, and I don't really eat it. The kids eat some. That bag's almost empty. You can't do that to your body. You can't keep pounding rice in your face hole. That's not good. But that's the way it's going right now. That's just how it is with eating all that rice. I still want to get my sprocket on this thing, on that beautiful little machine. I'm getting a lot better with the balance on there with Faye. I've been practicing with all 3 kids on there, and I try to go real slow in this street right here and do turnarounds and stuff. And you have to play with ride the clutch a little bit, and with your rear brake, and I can get her turned around less than the street. And now with Faye on the back, it's still, if she wiggles. The other day she tried to get on there and sit sideways, like side saddle. No, we'd have went down, I guarantee it. That was just a little bit too unstable. It's funny how it is, but we had our friend's daughter that's coming over. I took Faye's mom home one day from where we used to live in GMA. Instead of her riding a tricycle and jeepney and tricycle, I'll take you all the way home. And I had the Rouser then. And I remember getting off of that bike thinking, my goodness, I never had anybody sit on the back of my bike that it was like trying to drive an elephant around. Or a hippopotamus. That's how they say hippopotamus. Hippopotamus. But and I was like, something's wrong with me. And then I was talking to our buddy, and he said the same thing. A couple people said it's the same thing. It's just horrible on the back, very unstable and scary. And now it's getting the same way with Faye. But half the time when her mom's here and they're doing something outside and I can't tell one from the other. Their build's the same. Faye's not as tall, but their build's the same, and same head shape and everything like that, same body. So she's probably going to be just like her mom, but I still want to get a dirt bike. It's just they want so much. The other thing I really like, I love that CRF 300, the new one that come out, and you can buy that here. I really like it, but they also have a CRF 150L, and the thing that I really like about that one is there's no radiator, less stuff to go wrong, and they call it their unicorn motor. It's different than the regular 150 motor, and these Hondas are just bulletproof, and they got plenty of power. I really don't need a whole lot of power. I mean, if I get a bike for the highway, that'll be a whole different beast, and that's all that's going to be for. It's not going to be a running around town bike. Once I get the little trailer on the back of this YTX125, then I want to go ahead and get a bike just for me if I want to run somewhere. And once we get out of the rainy season, I'm going to go for some rides. I want to go for some comfortable rides. This one here, I have to be real careful on the bumps. It would be nice if the the pegs were back a little bit farther so they were more underneath me, so it's easier to get my weight off my butt. They're a little tiny bit forward, more than I like, and there's no adjustment because it's bolted right to the bottom of the motor. So that's just how that's going to be. I might have to add like a floorboard thingy or something on there so I can have my weight back a little bit. But once the trailer gets on it, I think that'll take care of itself just from the weight. But I don't like on my Harley Dyna, it had the forward pegs, and I just didn't want them. And once that thing was souped up, you couldn't keep your feet on the front pegs. Now what I did was I bought the kit. I had to get it from Harley, and it was expensive, but I bought the kit that moved it to mid pegs, and that made all the difference in the world of holding on to that bike. Plus that big king and queen seat, that was more Harley stuff. But I did have a fella, not the front part of the seat, that was fine. The back part of the seat, I said I need to line this with something a little bit firmer, and he took the back of the seat out and put this stuff that was, he goes, this is what the race guys use, and he put a real heavier foam. It still was foam, but it grabbed you, and then he took off the vinyl, and he put a leather on there that grabbed your butt. It wasn't a suede leather, but it grabbed your butt. My suit that I wore was a Motorsport Kevlar suit. That was my drag suit. And then I had an inner one like that for fire and all that stuff. But I couldn't, it was slippery. It was super slippery on the seat. And he said, yeah, the dude who was doing the seat, he goes, I don't know anybody who wears that kind of suit. That's a different one. Everybody wears leather, and I don't have any problem. So I had just left him the pants and said, take them. And I rode home without the pants on. And while he had the seat, I rode home with no seat too. And he called me up. He says, I found a leather that's going to work perfect for you. And he didn't gouge me. The dude was really good. He was a Chicano dude out there in California, out in Hacienda Heights. There's a lot of guys out there that do motorcycle work. And if one guy's charging too much, just leave. Go to the next guy, because there's 10 of them. You know, once you get over there, yeah, these little batteries take a crap real quick. They don't. They're not holding up at all. I've got ordered 2 Sony. The chat person I was talking to at this store in Manila said, you know, it's a fresh shipment. He goes, and then, man, I couldn't believe all the batteries they had. I couldn't find them before. I don't know why Lazada does this. When I looked for that particular battery number, I put in Sony and that battery. Nothing was coming up except the Wasabis. And then I found one that it had the same nomenclature, but one letter was different, and I clicked on it in this store. As I scrolled down through, got down into the bottom, this store came up, and I punched on that one, and man, I can't, you name a battery, these guys got it. I have to get the name of it, but Manila place instead of out of Japan. And then they were really cool. They said, we can get Sony stuff, but we don't stock it because it doesn't sell, but we can get it for you, is what it said on the chat. So I might get that one little holder for walking. Right now I'm on an antenna wand that we picked up at the Japanese store for 88 peso, and I like it. A lot of these holders for these cameras, you have to screw the camera onto them, and then there's a locking collar that you got to wind up on them. I don't want that. I want one where you just set the camera on top, and then the screw screws around inside of there and locks it down. You know, it's stupid. But I have I went ahead and just used a shoestring, and I made a safety cable when I go on the motorcycle helmet. I got good bases for the helmet, but it's glue. It's a 3M. I made sure I got the 3M stickers, and I don't want if it falls off, I don't want the camera getting trashed. You know, it'd take me a while to afford to replace that. I'd have to do it right away, so other people would be, you know, other things would be put on the back burner. So, and this month we got stuff. We got a birthday party for Dorothy's bestest little buddy and stuff. So I have to be careful. But it goes into the housing. I got the hole drilled in the back. I want to get another housing, you know, a rainproof one. But then you lose the sound. I don't know why Sony didn't make a provision for a microphone. I guess when you want to go underwater, you don't want to talk, or if you want to go out in the rain, there's no talking. Most of these Sonys that are sold, when you look in comments and stuff, they don't really use them for underwater that much. They just don't do it. It's more like for motor vlogging and stuff, and they are the best cameras for that, in my opinion anyway. The stabilization, I'm walking faster just to show you, and it's not that bad compared to I've seen guys walking with GoPros and stuff, and they're clunky. I mean, they're clunky and bad. So, but I'm gonna go ahead and let you go. This one's getting kind of long. So this is Rick Shaw out.